Deep inside a cave in France, tens of thousands of years ago, someone crawled through total darkness, carrying nothing but a small stone lamp, reached a wall no one would casually pass by, and painted a creature that doesn't exist anywhere in the natural world. Part human, part animal, entirely imagined. This wasn't decoration. This was something considerably stranger and more profound, and it reveals something genuinely remarkable about the earliest recorded human imagination. Cave art depicting recognizable, real animals, bison, horses, deer, is genuinely impressive on its own, showing skilled observation and considerable technical ability. But scattered among these accurate, clearly representational images, researchers have found something else entirely: Theanthropes. Figures that deliberately combine human and animal features into something that has never actually existed in the physical natural world at all. The famous sorcerer figure at Trois Cave in France, combining antlers, an owl-like face, and a human body in a single striking composite image, dates back approximately 14,000 years. The Wenmensch figurine, an ivory carving combining a human body with a distinctly lion-like head, dates back an astonishing 40,000 years, making it among the oldest known unambiguous evidence of purely symbolic, non-representational human imagination. This specific distinction matters enormously to researchers studying the deep origins of human cognition. Painting an accurate bison requires skilled observation and real technical execution, but it doesn't necessarily require imagining something that has never actually been seen. Painting a creature that combines a human body with a lion's head requires something categorically different: the genuine cognitive capacity to mentally combine separate, unrelated real-world concepts into an entirely new, purely imagined entity that exists nowhere in observable physical reality at all. Cognitive scientists sometimes call this specific capacity conceptual blending, and its clear presence in art dating back tens of thousands of years tells us something genuinely profound about when sophisticated abstract human imagination first reliably emerged. Some researchers studying these specific images have proposed a compelling, if inherently difficult to fully verify, explanation directly connected to shamanic practice and altered states of consciousness. Anthropological studies of documented shamanic traditions across numerous different cultures worldwide show recurring reports of experiencing theanthropic transformation, a genuine felt sense of merging with, or actually becoming, a specific animal during deep ritual trance states. If Ice Age human societies practiced broadly similar shamanic rituals, these particular cave paintings might represent direct visual attempts to depict and preserve genuinely experienced, deeply meaningful, altered states of consciousness, rather than being purely invented, decorative, or narrative fantasy imagery. The specific locations chosen for these particular images offer additional, genuinely compelling supporting clues. Many Theanthrope images are found in the deepest, most physically difficult to reach sections of a given cave system, chambers requiring genuinely dangerous crawling through extremely narrow passages, far removed from any comfortable everyday living or gathering space. This specific placement suggests these particular images weren't intended for casual, everyday viewing by an entire ordinary community. They were placed deliberately in spaces that themselves likely held specific, deeply significant ritual meaning, accessible only to specific individuals for specific, deeply meaningful ceremonial purposes. Acoustic properties of these specific deep cave chambers add yet another genuinely fascinating research angle worth mentioning directly here. Researchers studying the specific acoustic characteristics of major painted cave sites have found that chambers containing the most significant, elaborate imagery frequently also show notably distinctive sound resonance properties, sometimes considerably more pronounced than in nearby unpainted chambers within the very same overall cave system. Some researchers have proposed that sound, chanting, specific vocalizations, or percussive rhythm may have played a genuinely significant role in whatever ritual activities accompanied the actual creation and later ceremonial viewing of this particular imagery. Though this specific connection remains an active, ongoing area of genuine scholarly research and debate. The sheer technical execution required to create this imagery deep within these specific, difficult, dark environments deserves real direct credit as well. Artists worked by flickering, unreliable lamplight in awkward physical positions, often on curved or genuinely irregular natural rock surfaces, yet still produced work showing sophisticated understanding of proportion, perspective, and even, in some remarkable documented cases, a deliberate use of the natural rock surface's own three-dimensional contours to add genuine visual depth and volume to the finished image. This wasn't casual, quickly made work. It represented a genuine, serious, and evidently highly valued form of skilled artistic and technical practice. Comparative evidence from multiple entirely separate cave art sites across dramatically different regions worldwide strengthens the overall case that this kind of composite imagined imagery reflects something genuinely deep and broadly universal in human cognition, rather than being some kind of isolated regional cultural quirk confined to just one specific area. Theanthropic figures appear in ancient rock art across parts of Africa, Australia, and the Americas as well, created by populations with no meaningful historical contact whatsoever with the European cave painters. This kind of independent, repeated convergence across entirely unconnected ancient populations suggests the underlying cognitive capacity for this specific kind of imaginative, symbolic conceptual blending was a broadly shared, widespread feature of Homo sapiens cognition considerably earlier and considerably more universally than researchers once generally assumed. What makes this particular body of evidence so genuinely significant to researchers studying the deep origins of human cognition is what it reveals about the actual underlying nature of early human imagination itself. These specific ancient artists weren't simply documenting the observable world they directly saw around them. They were actively creating something new entirely inside their own minds first, then deliberately, skillfully translating that purely mental invention into a lasting, durable physical form using pigment and rock, an achievement requiring genuine abstract thought, careful, deliberate planning, and a level of symbolic cognitive sophistication that researchers once assumed emerged considerably later in the broader story of human cultural development. Dating techniques used to establish exactly how old this imagery actually is deserve genuine, direct mention here as well, since the specific numbers themselves are what make this whole story so genuinely remarkable in the first place. Researchers use radiocarbon dating on any organic material found directly in the pigment itself, such as charcoal-based black paint, along with uranium-thorium dating applied to thin mineral crusts that naturally form directly over painted surfaces across long stretches of time. These specific dating methods, cross-checked carefully against each other and against the broader surrounding archaeological context of a given site, have repeatedly confirmed dates considerably older than researchers initially expected when many of these particular sites were first properly scientifically studied. Preservation itself represents a genuinely remarkable part of this overall story, deserving its own direct mention. Many of these deep cave chambers remained completely sealed off from meaningful outside environmental disturbance for tens of thousands of consecutive years, protected by stable temperature, stable humidity, and complete darkness. Conditions that happen to be nearly ideal for preserving fragile mineral pigment relatively intact. Chauvet Cave in France, discovered only in 1994, remained essentially untouched since a rockfall naturally sealed its original entrance many thousands of years ago, meaning modern researchers were the very first human beings to see this particular remarkable imagery in millennia, encountering it in a condition remarkably close to how the original artists themselves had actually left it. Some researchers studying this specific body of ancient imagery have also proposed that its narrative complexity may have been considerably greater than previously assumed. Certain painted panels appear to show sequential scenes involving the exact same figures, suggesting these ancient artists may have been deliberately telling extended visual stories rather than simply creating isolated, standalone individual images. If accurate, this would push the origins of visual narrative storytelling, a foundational element of human culture that eventually evolved into everything from illustrated manuscripts to modern cinema. Back considerably further into deep prehistory, than most people ever typically imagine. The next time you look at any piece of purely fantastical, deliberately imagined art, a mythological creature, a fictional character, anything that deliberately combines familiar real-world elements into something genuinely new that has never actually physically existed. It's worth remembering that this specific human capacity for imaginative, symbolic invention is nothing particularly new or recent at all. Tens of thousands of years ago, in the deepest, darkest, most difficult to reach chambers of remote cave systems, our distant ancestors were already doing exactly the same essential thing, using nothing more than mineral pigment dim flickering lamplight, and a genuinely remarkable, deeply human capacity for pure imagination. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this one, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss what comes next.